You asked for it. Let's compare the two most popular tennis academies in the world today. The Rafa Nadal Academy, located in Mallorca, and the Mouratoglou Tennis Academy, located in Billau, France. Although these two entities have their own satellite locations around the world, I will be comparing only their respective main campuses with each other. To recap, I did the Total Tennis Plus program at Nadal in May of 2023 and the Intensive Adult Camp program at Mouratoglou in September of 2025. These two programs and lodging arrangements were very similar. I'll go over their specific differences throughout this video. I will be comparing these two in 6 main categories: location, locals, facilities, programming, price, and the wow factor. Just in case you were thinking about visiting one of these two, you can make your decision based on this video with a little bit more information. 2 academies enter this video, but only one comes out on top. Which do you think it will be? Leave a comment down in the section below to guess which one, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell for more original tennis content. Now, let's see which of these 2 most famous tennis academies in the world is right for you. Let's talk about the location. Both of these academies are about an 8-hour flight from the Midwest. Keep in mind, I flew out of Chicago, so I really cannot distinguish between these two in terms of airtime. The airport location is where they start to have a little bit of a different feel as a tourist. In Mallorca, the island of Spain, I landed in La Palma, by far the biggest city of the island with almost 500,000 in population. I had to take a 45-minute taxi from La Palma airport all the way across the island, which is basically a desert, to Manacor, Rafa Nadal's childhood town. La Palma itself is quite beautiful, but with the exception of Puerto Cristo and La Palma itself, I really didn't find much to do. This is juxtaposed by the French Riviera where Billau is located. I landed in Nice, a smaller city of about 350,000, but there were so many other smaller towns to visit. From the smaller and quieter town of Cannes to the bustling old town of Antibes, I felt there was much more life surrounding the French Riviera. And if you know me and follow me on Discord and other social media, you know that my 3 favorite ethnic foods are Indian, Jamaican, and Spanish. In fact, ask my Discord user Moist Panda how mean my jerk chicken is. In fact, I love sangria and I'm not even a wine type of guy. And my absolute favorite main entree is paella, and I had the absolute best paella in Puerto Cristo at a seaside local restaurant. But this was overshadowed by the Italian-inspired variety of both food and drink in the French Riviera. Believe it or not, there was a lot of pasta and Italian dishes in the French Riviera because of the history of Greek and Roman settlements. And yes, the red wine and pink wine were just absolutely delightful to have. Just be warned, when dining, the French eat pizza with a fork and knife. A bit odd, if you ask me. The drinks were a bit more varied as well, from the Belgian beers that were spread out between the local restaurants to the bubbly spritzers under the French summer sun. The food and drink variety loom and overshadow that of the Mallorcan offerings. As for the weather, assuming the time of year is the same in both of these locations, I highly suggest going to either of these locations between May and late September, with the exception of late July and early August. The location winner is Mouratoglou Tennis Academy, nestled in Billau, France, on the French Riviera. Well, you can't exactly talk about the location without the locals, no? Well, before I get started, leave a comment down in the section below. Will I like the French or the Spaniards a little bit more? It is no surprise that there is no clear winner here when it comes to the employees and the other local people I've encountered within the main campus themselves. Just like with any major tourist destination, the employees, ranging from the tennis coaches, maintenance and cleaning, and the bartenders and servers and front desk people, they're all top-notch client service-facing people. With very, very few exceptions, most of them spoke more than passable English. All of my encounters were pleasant, even if I, as an uncultured American, asked very stupid questions, and trust me, I asked a lot. Unsurprisingly, the differences were more noticeable comparing the local general population outside of the tennis academy, and I will say this with no animus, and obviously this is all anecdotal, so don't roast me too hard. Keep in mind, flying to Mallorca was the first time I've ever been to Europe, and although it is not as popular as Madrid, I was absolutely blown away at how different people live day to day. The locals in Puerto Cristo and La Palma definitely dress differently, and they dress so nice with fashion and purpose. The language they spoke, not just Spanish, had a certain bounce to every sentence they formulated. It was such a massive contrast to what I'm used to in the US. However, I had a much more pleasant time with the locals in the French Riviera. I want to clarify, I did not have any bad interactions with anyone in Mallorca, but the locals on the French Riviera, from Nice to Cannes to Antibes, were a lot more welcoming. Every French person I talked to was not only extremely helpful, but they were also very curious about what I thought about my stay in their location so far, and how different it is from other parts of the world. Yes, The French Riviera is much of a bigger destination for tourism compared to Mallorca, and it showed in how the locals interacted with me. For the locals category, this will have to go to the French Riviera. I'm so glad I went down this off-beaten path, because look at this scene. It's absolutely beautiful. Just walking around, people just having drinks, playing cards even, like, right? It's not like a vibe that I've experienced in anywhere except Europe. Most prominent ones are Nice, France, Munich, Germany, and then also Czechia, Prague, Czech Republic. So it's just nice walking around. It's very, very different than the States in terms of even just like leisurely just walking. Even in Milwaukee, Chicago, it's not like this. Well, you can't exactly have a tennis academy without top-tier facilities, right? Mouratoglou plays host to 33 courts at the recording of this video. If I recall correctly, it was about a 50-50 split between hard and red clay, with 5 or 6 total courts being semi-covered on the far side of the campus. Although La Residence, where I initially stayed at, was a decent stay, no real complaints, it didn't have that nice touch of the real hotel at Mouratoglou, the hotel room where I dwelled in for the second half of my stay in Biot. The quality of the tennis courts, red and hard, were fantastic, with the main bank of hard courts being resurfaced and repainted at the time I was there. The restaurant and bar, L'Emblème at Mouratoglou, was great as well, although a bit on the pricier side. Each entree was well over €20 and the drinks, as fancy and strong as they were also hurting my pockets a little bit more than expected. The overall layout of Mouratoglou was nice and for the most part logical. I personally thought that the racket-shaped pool really got in the way of my journeys from zigzag from point A to point B within the campus. 1,000 kilometers away to the southwest, the Nadal Academy is home to 45 tennis courts, 22 red clay and 23 hard, with a nice sprinkle of 4 indoor hard courts and 7 semi-covered clay courts. The hotel was also brand spanking new when I visited. In fact, about 20% of the hotel was inaccessible due to the renovations and construction that were still underway. Although my hotel room was slightly smaller than the nicer one at Mouratoglou, it felt brand new and my view outside was fantastic. From my balcony of my hotel room, I could see almost all the tennis courts as the sun was setting while having a nice gin and tonic. The restaurant, especially the breakfast, was damn near perfect. They had similar American food and definitely more than enough choices when it comes to more Mallorcan, Spanish, and European bites to start my day. I also loved the grill-style restaurant in the middle of the Nadal campus for more burger-like varieties. The bar at Rafa Nadal Academy was also more than serviceable and slightly more affordable than its Mouratoglou counterpart. I also really want to emphasize that I did not see one crack or one bubble on any of the hard courts at Nadal. Out of all the 45 tennis courts, I literally did not see one single defect. Unfortunately, the same could not be said about Mouratoglou. Some of the hard courts I was hitting on after the session had some bumps and divots near the baseline. Also, the layout of this campus, from the hotel room, parking lot locations, and the restaurants and bars within the Nadal campus, and how the tennis courts were grouped together, this layout was literally like perfect. It was like a dream come true for a tennis academy. With no surprise, the Rafa Nadal Academy takes the facilities category with flying colors. I would argue that this is the most second important category, if not the most important. Why do a tennisification without thinking about the tennis programming as being top of the list? As previously stated, I opted in for the intensive adult camp for Mouratoglou. This included 2 sessions of tennis at 90 minutes each, although during summer, I think it's 2 hours each session, per day, Monday through Friday. There was also the physical training in the morning that lasted another 90 minutes. This includes stretching, core, leg work, and the like. At the Nadal Academy, I chose to take the comparable Total Tennis Plus that includes 2 sessions of 2 hours tennis split between the morning and the afternoon, Monday through Friday, with a nice added bonus of Saturday morning tennis before most people check out of the hotel. And as an aside, I believe this was also including a 50-minute physiotherapy session, another nice little bonus. In retrospect, the coaching for both programs were pretty similar in terms of drills and how coaches generally approach different tennis players for improvement. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I personally like the Nadal schedule a little bit better. I skipped 3 out of the 5 physical training sessions at Mouratoglou, well, because I'd rather just save my energy and potential injury for the red clay playing tennis. I'm giving the slight edge of the Rafa Nadal Academy for the programming and schedule. Price-wise, these two behemoths are actually pretty similar at face value. The Mouratoglou's intensive adult camp was at €2,140. This included the tennis, the cafe lunch, hotel, and breakfast, although I did bargain for the breakfast as I stayed at La Residence for the first half of my stay. Comparatively, the Nadal Academy was slightly more expensive, actually, at $2,240, which included tennis, breakfast and lunch, hotel, but here's the kicker. It actually included a €1,200 voucher for an Iberia flight, which covered like 90% of the round trip from the US. I believe this is only possible if you opt in to stay at the Nadal Academy Hotel and fly from the US. But yeah, that's a deal and a half. Giving the price category to Rafa on this one. Last category, the wow factor. Stepping into the Mouratoglou Academy after 3 days of traveling the French Riviera was absolutely astonishing. Seeing the Mouratoglou facilities in person after watching countless YouTube videos, IG Reels, and TikToks was pretty much a surreal experience for me. From the weather that ranged from 80 to 90 Fahrenheit, backdrop of the ocean only a dozen kilometers away, with a scenic backdrop of the rolling hills in early September was a dream. However, this French painting is, in my opinion, a step below from what I experienced in the Nadal Academy. Yes, I was in Mallorca in the early part of May, which is not ideal weather, but I was at the Rafa Nadal Academy. It was surreal to see Rafa practice in person. It was surreal to see his coaches like Mark Lopez, who also is his doubles partner, and just walking around. Hell, I even saw Uncle Tony in the exact same cafe I was eating at. Okay, I do admit, I do have some bias in this because it was my first time in Europe, and Nadal is the most second goated player of all time, second only to Lord Tomic. But the wow factor of the Nadal Academy is unprecedented. It is the destination as a tennis fanatic. No disrespect to Mouratoglou, but the Rafa Nadal Academy takes this category easily. Well, what do you guys think? If you've been to one, if not both of these, let me know in the comment down section below. And if you haven't been to any of these, did I sway you from one or the other based on the breakdown and my anecdotal analysis? Let me know in the comments section below, or better yet, join my Discord for all things tennis and traveling, I guess. And as always, happy hitting.